Well, welcome everybody to I Said This, You Heard That during our Sheltering in Presence edition. I'm Terry McHugh, and along with Curt Bissell, our online church pastor, we're hosting this. And we have our wonderful panel of participants from church representing temperaments. Sorry, I got to talk.
Terry is already having technical difficulty as a boomer. That happens. We still love you. We are going to be talking about a study we did last fall called I Said This, You Heard That, with a woman by the name of Kathleen Edelman. And we're going to be sharing today with our panel of illustrious panel. There's there's 8 of us. I can't count. It's after 4 o'clock. There's 8 of us that are going to be sharing and going through this. There's 2 of each temperament. And so you're going to hear from them in a minute or 2, just to hear what their color is and why they are that color. So Terry, I'm going to let you do a little more introduction on the temperaments and what we're all talking about. If you didn't do the study or weren't part of our church or the series back in the fall, that's okay. We're going to catch you up real quick, and I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, so Kathleen Edelman is the author of a book called I Said This, You Heard That, and she came and was a guest speaker here at Garfield back in September and really taught us about temperaments. Temperaments are how we're wired. We're born with them. We'll say a little bit more about that, but everything is based on Ephesians 4:29, which says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And that's what undergirds everything that Kathleen talks about, because I think we need some kind words in the world, don't we? That we have, too many things that are said that are hurtful and unkind to one another. So we thought that this learning about the temperaments, we had multiple small groups, more small groups than we've ever had form after Kathleen's time with us. And we thought it'd be great to pull this tool out of the toolbox in a time, especially during sheltering in place, sheltering in presence, where people are together a little more than they're used to being, or they may be together in different ways than they're used to being. So many of us are online. So we thought it'd be helpful to revisit the temperaments and to have people talk about their experiences and how their wiring colors are experienced during these times. So we're going to have some discussion here and there. You may want to comment on Facebook, Facebook Live, and just a little bit, we'll be showing some videos of Kathleen doing some teaching on some of the basics. But another thing that we've done at Garfield is Ministry by Strengths. This uses the Clifton Strengths Finder to discover the top 5 most amazing things about folks. So one of the questions we asked Kathleen when she was here, what's the difference between personality and temperament? And Kathleen says that temperaments are just how we're born. We don't have a choice. It's like our voice print, our eye color, our hair color, our fingerprint. I was born with a certain hair color, and this is not it, by the way, or it used to be it, and then it is artificially it. But we really can't change that in a deep way. So personality is the what, and temperament is the why. Personality changes over time, and it's affected by things like our experience, our life experience, our faith, our culture, our birth order. And so those are just things that kind of shape us, and we kind of evolve in our personality. But temperament is the why. We're just wired. And I was fascinated when Kathleen said that you can tell the temperament of a child as early as about 9 months old. When they're even just a toddler, you can tell what their temperament is. So since we've been through the experience, I've found it's, been fun to try to, guess people's temperaments, and maybe some of you have too. But that's really the basic. And we're going to watch a short little video that might give you a good sense. If you're watching and you're not sure, you haven't been through this, you don't know what your temperament is, then it might give you a little bit of a clue as to what that is. So, Curt, why don't you play the video?
I can't hear any sound. I don't know if anybody else can't hear it.
We're not getting the sound with the video. So,
all right, hold on. We'll be right back here. Let's see here.
And sorry guys, I apologize.
There we go.
For our technical challenges here.
I do not. We have, yeah, Chip just texted me. We have no volume. Yes, Chip, we know. Try it now. Let me know. Can you hear us?
Yep.
I can hear it.
Is that the next question? All right.
I was
So that's kind of a fun reminder of the different characteristics of our temperaments. And so we wanted to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves and share a little bit about you. And Curt, why don't you frame the questions for them? Just what your color is, what your temperament is. And we're all wearing our colors, so I'm a blue. And a little bit about how you've seen the temperament.
As you kind of got a little bit of a view there, and I don't know if I screwed up my screen or not, but I had a child walk in the room and maybe you heard him scream at me. But what we're looking at is these temperaments, and the colors really just kind of are an easy way to think about these different types, these different temperaments that we have. And so, the 4 temperaments that we talked about, yellow, red, green, and blue. I am clearly a red. They got comments on how red my shirt was when I got in the room. Wally is also a red, though that shirt's not looking real red there. It's a good looking shirt though. So what we're gonna do is there are certain things about us that make us our temperament. So I'll go first. As I said, I'm red. And red are drivers. Sometimes people tell us we're bossy. I like to be in charge. When nobody else can be in charge, that's good enough, So as I will sit in the background and follow as long as you're really good at what you're doing. But the second I feel like things are getting out of control, I step in and take charge. I also talk really loud, which my wife and children would tell you. So those are a couple of things about me that are red, that make me red. who wants to go next and share their color, and what's something about your temperament that really defines your color for us? So make sure you unmute. All right. Wally, why don't you go next?
Well, as I'm hearing all this feedback. As Curt said, Reds are leaders. They're not dynamic leaders, and they're responsible people. Some might call us bossy. I find that a plus. We're extroverts. We're extroverts and we're task oriented. And right now, because of this virus, that makes us even more task oriented, stay safe and healthy, and keep everyone around us safe and healthy. Also, we can be caustic. I know I can. Some of my friends call me an acquired taste, because sometimes I say things that offend them, and I don't care.
Sorry, Tracy.
I don't mean it in harm. It's what I find it funny. They find it offensive. They can't beat me, so they have to tolerate me.
So while your wife also tells you you're not funny, then, is what I'm hearing.
I'm sorry?
That your wife also tells you you're not funny?
Right.
Yeah, I get that all the time. I guess it's just a color thing. So, all right, well, let's keep moving here. Peggy, you're up on the top right of my screen, but do you want to go ahead and share next?
Sure. I am yellow, wearing my yellow sweater. I'm a very positive person. I always see things, I really try, to be happy about things and joyful. I do talk a lot, so call me, if I do, which is why I have to really work on interrupting, because while you're talking, I'm thinking of something and I'm all ready to interject. And I'm pretty much an open book because I can talk, and I talk in stories. So I guess that's me. I can continue.
Yeah.
That's okay. It looks like Darlene's going to jump in next for us.
Okay. I'm Darlene, and I'm green. My green sweatshirt. I had to find something green to put on. But I have green bottoms, but not so many green tops. But anyway, as a green, I'm easygoing, and I'm enthusiastic. I found myself in this pandemic making the most of the situation. I'm patient, and I'm kind, and I'm try to be diplomatic when it's important. But anyway, that's about it as a greenie.
Awesome. And depending on the theologian you speak to, Jesus was a green. I personally
Cool.
don't
knew
agree with
it.
that.
I
but
felt it.
Yes. So you have a closer connection to Jesus than the rest of us. So
yeah.
Who'd like to go next? Tracy, you up?
Yeah, I could go next. My name is Tracy Everett. I am a blue. Blues like perfection and order. By nature, they're introverts and also task-oriented. For instance, the things that kind of draw me, that make me feel warm and fuzzy, political.
You're blue.
I feel I'm creative. As a matter of fact, room crochet class.
We're live.
This time is really good because I also enjoy solitude. So the pandemic has really, brought me in to my comfort zone. I probably won't leave the house until there is a vaccine next year, because I'm feeling warm and fuzzy now and comfortable. I'm also wondering, is 6 feet enough that we should have distance there? I'm very methodical, punctual. Some people say that I'm negative, but I just like to avoid obstacles. That's, one of my ways of turning that around. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy. Wally, I'm also married to a blue, and I felt like she was talking just now. So
yes, and that's why quiet.
The blues have a tendency to provide balance, I feel, to the reds, which is why we're across from them. We
You won't get an argument from me. So, Selena, do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Selena, and I am also representing Green, like Darlene. I would say the thing that stuck out the most to me was kind of the mediator role, the peacemaker role. I am that at work, with my friends, with family. I'm usually the person that I don't like conflict. So I'm trying to hear this side and bridge this side. I can think about it with my friends, a group of my girlfriends. We usually take a vacation from college every year, and polar opposite personalities. And I'm always that one in the middle, like, well, I could do this activity, but I could also stay here. And, and one is talking to me about the other one. And I'm always trying to kind of do this balancing act. As far as the pandemic is concerned, I'm a school counselor, a high school counselor, and it's been a challenge. But I think being a Green served me well, because I've had parents reaching out to me at wit's end about their student. I've had students reaching out to me about their parents and their teachers getting on their case, and teachers reaching out to me about the students. And so you're trying to hear every side and empathize with everybody, but also help them to see the other side. So I think it's definitely the Green I can see that even more so in these last couple months.
Awesome. Thanks, Selena. I left well, Terry, did it count that you shared already, or do you need to still go?
Well, I do want to say, in regards to the comments about Jesus and, being Green, you may notice that Jesus very often went off to be alone in solitude. So I believe he's blue, personally. So
We're gonna have to get maybe run a Facebook feed. If you have a feeling of who Jesus was color-wise, we're gonna explain the temperaments in a minute. You're gonna watch a little short clip here, but put in the Facebook comments what color you think Jesus was. And I hate to do this, but Brian, you didn't go yet. So I left a yellow to go last, which is not nice at all,
that
Brian.
probably was very beautiful.
But go ahead and tell us about yourself, will you?
Yeah, I was literally, I had my mouse on my mute button that whole time, just ready for you to choose me. And you never did, and I was upset. Myself, outgoing, energetic and fun, I guess, and people oriented. I love people. I love being around people. I just want to be surrounded by people all the time. That doesn't mean I don't like random spurts of alone, but I'd rather just be with people. I'd rather just sit there quietly with a room full of people than just like go be in a library or something like that. And so I just want to just enjoy life, live life to the fullest, live in the moment so presently, definitely tell some good stories, and just be around people. I love people. And you got me all wired up because you wouldn't choose me.
I had no idea we were causing so much psychic pain. I'm sorry, Brian.
I knew I was, Terry, as I kept going, and I was like, oh, I haven't called on a yellow yet. This could be a problem. Well, Brian, we still love you. And during the next discussion, you get to talk first. How's that? All right.
That's fair.
So Terry, do you want to kind of intro the next clip we're gonna do?
Yeah, we're just going to see a short clip with Kathleen. This is from when she was at Garfield and she was on stage with Pastor Chip and his wife Terry, and they were doing some Q&A. And so she's going to be saying some basic things about the temperaments. She's going to talk about extroverts and introverts, and whether we're task-oriented or people-oriented, and how that balances off across the 4 different temperaments or colors. So I think we're ready to see the video.
That it's based off of?
Yes.
So the basis of the temperaments come again from way back in maybe the time of Hippocrates. So these are the original Greek names that were given at about 60 AD by a first physician named Galen. They were named off body fluid or humor of the body, which we're not going to talk about, but it is sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and phlegmatic. But what we've done is we've matched those with colors, as Chip was saying, he's yellow, I'm blue, somebody else is green. Now it's going to make sense. We've matched them with colors because the Greek words can be a mouthful. So the yellow, sanguine, the red is choleric, the blue is melancholic, and the green is phlegmatic. But we have to know foundationally a little bit about them, right?
Yep.
First, to kind of get it going. So there's things that may sound simple, but in communication, it is so important to know. The first one being that the red and the yellow are extroverts. That does not mean you like to be around a lot of people. What it truly means in communication is that your thoughts and emotions go outward.
Yeah.
These people have no filter. None. No filter. So they just say things out. They talk before they think. And so they say things like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or they just needed to know, right? Because it's just out there. The blues and the greens, I happen to be a blue-green combination. We think before we talk. It does not mean that we don't like to be around people. We're introverts. It just means our thoughts and emotions go inward. I have to process something before I say it, right? So sometimes even for the blues and the greens, our filter can be a little bit too big. But you have to understand, again, in communication, what true introvert and extrovert is. Then the red and the blue, task-oriented people. These people are objective. They want a reason behind what they're doing. They want to accomplish or be productive. They will even use people as tasks if need be, because they're task-oriented. The yellow and the green, people-oriented. They're going to choose people over tasks. These are people who are harmony, connecting. They want everybody to be happy. They're going to choose people first. So why this is so critically important to understand the basis of communication is for these people who end up assessing green. This is an introvert that likes to be around people. So even though you're innately quiet, you would pick a person over a task. So when you do the assessment in the book, you have a dominant and a secondary. It's always going to be vertical or horizontal, never diagonal. In temperament, that's really important because that would be like being the polar opposite of yourself, right? So we would be horizontal or vertical. And those are like the foundations to understand before you really get into starting what's unique about them or what language they speak.
Well, let's talk about the uniqueness of each one, because
You want to hear yours, right?
Yeah, I gotta be first.
Yeah, because yours is first, and that's done purposely, right? So the yellow speaks the language of fun and people. This is a person who's uniquely designed to see the best in people first. They are in the moment and they see the best in people and the best in circumstances first. The red.
Can we get that slide, guys?
Yeah, I think there's an individual slide. Maybe there's not. There should be.
There should be. Come on, there we go.
Oh, no, that's not. No, we don't want that.
Oh, go
in
back
yet.
up. Never mind. Sorry.
Thank you for interrupting
I
there.
know,
We'll
I
get
know.
to that point. I think I wrote the book, but that's okay. He's just being helpful and fun. The red speaks the language of power and control. Okay. What's unique to the red is their ability to throw a big net and see a vision and a goal as clear can be. The blue speaks the language of perfection and order. What's unique about the blue is that we can anticipate every obstacle from A to B. Where the red sees from A to B and sees the goal, we see every obstacle up to the B, up to the goal. What's unique about the green, they speak the language of calm and harmony. They are the calm in the midst of chaos. If this building gets on fire, we want to be behind a red. They're going to save our life. They're quick, they excel in emergencies, but the green is going to be the one that comes up alongside you going, it's going to be okay. You know, you're going to be fine, right? So what you were so anxious to get started on was the strengths and weaknesses, right?
I'm afraid to talk. I just want to have fun.
Yeah, it is fun. You make it fun.
Okay.
That's what's so funny. The strengths and weaknesses, I think, is what you were talking about.
Let's look at those. Let's look at those. Tell us
So
about those.
each temperament has their unique.
All right, so we'll pause there. And we're going into strengths and weaknesses. I think Oh, next. Ha, look at that. After this. So, Terry, I think we want to talk about how our temperament has helped us or been obvious recently. Is that the next question you want to talk about?
I think talk a little bit about in these, last couple of months, how have you seen your temperament kind of come to the fore? Like it's been really helpful, or how has it made you struggle a little bit? Like I can imagine for Brian and Peggy as yellows, not being around people as much could be really challenging. So just talk a little bit about that. And we definitely are going to have Brian go first.
Thank you. Yeah. You're right. There's been times and moments where like it has been hard, and I'd like to start with that. I am people oriented and I need people in my life. And so phone calls are fun and videos are fun, but it's that like in-person interaction that's important for me. And I desire that and I long for that. And so when I've had long days without seeing people or not seeing as many people as I'd like, it's hard. It's really hard. Fortunately, I work at Target and we've stayed open. And so it's really helped me embrace Target culture where I get to see people and I guess give back to the community, and I make those interactions more meaningful than before. But during this time, I think like the Lord has been so present and has opened my eyes. I feel like I've had this opportunity to stay happy, to stay excited when a lot of people are maybe feeling down or sad or mad or whatever emotion may be coming up. And so I've felt like I've needed to be intentional with those that I love, all my friends and family, and reach out and just be like, hey, it's all going to be good. Or, hey, let's do something fun. Let's just talk about something good. And so during this time, yes, it has been hard for me, but it has allowed for new outlets and new opportunities to like speak into people, speak truth and excitement in different and unique ways. And like that just surfaced so quickly. I was like, all right, I see this, but it's all going to be good. Like something good is going to happen from this. And I just can't wait to see what happens. And it truly has. I've seen great relationships form and continue to grow through it. So that's how my color has definitely shown.
That's really awesome. Who would like to go next?
I just want to ask a follow-up question to Brian real quick. So Brian, first of all, like I feel better now that you've been talking. So, thanks for that. But is there been one kind of medium for you that's been the best way for you to be expressive as a yellow? I know you mentioned Target, but are we, do you like FaceTime? Are you doing Zoom? Like what is a great way for you to engage people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't like to use social media, but I don't know if anybody knows this app. It's called Marco Polo. It's a mix between texting and making video calls. So you send short video calls, or as long as you want, to each other, and it allows you to respond, listen, watch, and respond whenever you can. And so I've forced everybody in my family to get it, all of my friends to get it. It is my best way to interact with people because it goes with everybody's interaction throughout the day. And so I may work 8 hours, but I will be able to see it on my ride home and see their expression, their excitement, their sadness. And then I get to respond full-heartedly and not just feel like I need to rush and respond. Like I get to rewatch the videos. And so Marco Polo, if you are missing interactions with people, I highly suggest getting that app.
All right. Are you getting paid for that advertisement? I'm joking.
No, I
Peggy,
should be.
Peggy, I feel like Terry, we should let the yellows go first. Do you want to let Peggy go next?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Okay. I am half yellow and half green. So 50-50, exactly. And I really enjoy people. I love being around people. And with my job, I still go in once a week and I really don't see anyone, but I see my daughter. Although I have to tell you that I saw a video with my granddaughter a few days ago. They were showing me something that she was doing, and it really made me realize how much I miss them. And really, it really bothered me to not see them. I'm used to going to my kids' homes all the time and really haven't been able to do that. But we'll start pretty soon. And I guess just using text and calling people has really been wonderful. I live in an apartment building where people have dogs, and it's been so much fun because I feel like I'm in a, I don't know, a place, there's a lot of young people and they have their dogs and they run around all the staircases and I hear all this laughter, and it just makes me feel so good. I just enjoy hearing the laughter. And there's kids behind me that play in a pool and in a trampoline behind me in a complex. And I love hearing the laughter. And so that really helps me a lot doing that. That's it.
All right. So, gee, I don't know which color feels more urgency to go at this point, but
Well, I
say
can answer that. It's red. Red needs to go for next. So Wally, why don't you go ahead and go?
Okay, first thing I want to say is that if you look at the strengths in this whole process we started in, Jesus had to be a red because number one for Reds is he was a dynamic leader. So we know that he was a dynamic leader, so he was a red.
You're gonna pick a fight with Chip later. I said God's all powerful and Reds love the language of power. So clearly, but
exactly. Well, Chip
he's gonna get on you later.
In fact, I'm wondering now if he's listening or talking. Anyway, I'm getting in deeper trouble. I think because Reds are disciplined and we have a tendency to be bossy. Under the tension of this virus, this whole thing staying locked in place, we remain focused but antsy. I like being in control. The virus has taken that control away from me. So it feeds the antsiness in me. I'm walking around, pacing the floor, walk around outside the house and walk back inside, and just to relieve some of the tension that it brings on me. But that's the way red people are. I like being in control and I miss having that control and I want it back and we're going to have it back.
Yeah, Wally, I'm not holding my breath there, but as a red, I relate to everything you said. I'm working from home right now, and I'm a financial advisor, so I'm used to seeing people. My other color is yellow, so I'm like all extrovert. I've never had an internal thought in my life, but I know for me, because I'm driven, I have difficulty going back and forth between kind of dad mode and work mode. And so when I'm working from home and I have 4 boys, at some point you'll hear them, I'm sure, or one will like pop through my virtual screen. And so that transition for me is probably the most challenging. I think I'm getting a little better at it, although there's days when it gets a lot worse too. So, but yeah, that for me, that's how I'm seeing my red come out in this time. So Darlene, do you want to share next?
Yes, in keeping with the theme, if you recall the story in the Bible, when the waters were raging, Jesus was asleep in the boat, right? And that's calm that day. So we know he was green, we know. But as a green, I found myself during this pandemic checking on family members and friends, and I received a call one day from a friend, a former coworker, retired. So I got this call, and she was in deep distress. And we just talked about a lot of things, and we talked for over an hour. And after that, during the conversation, there were tears, and towards the end, she was okay. She was laughing, and she had an appointment to see her therapist. Well, it didn't work out, and I felt good. I made an appointment to get together for lunch after this whole thing was over. But it didn't work out well for her. In a couple of days, she had taken her life. She committed suicide. And that was very, disturbing to me, because I had we had spent so much time, and I thought she had turned it around. But at least during the conversation, we talked and she was calm, or so I thought. But what they say about the dark night of the soul, when things happen, when after all that. And so I shared that with my son, and he said, well, you probably did all you could have done. But you just have to remember, she may have been okay, but when she didn't have anybody to talk to that evening, it just kind of got out of hand. So this was one of, I can be calm, but in green people, they internalize everything, and I just kept thinking, what could I have done differently to have changed that circumstances? But there wasn't anything, because she had probably made up her mind to do that. Because the call came out of the blue. And I later learned that she had called another co-worker. And so, after talking, she said, well, that was her way of saying goodbye. And she said a lot of good things about me and having worked together. So it was, in hindsight, I realized that it was a goodbye call. So it's just, I just say you can be calm, but try to do those things that green people do, but it's still, in the end, sometimes you have no control over anything. So.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, Darlene. We'll certainly be praying for that family in this time. So, Selena, can you go next for us?
Absolutely. I think what I was thinking about as Darlene was talking, one of the things that's helped me during this time has been figuring out ways to help other people. So looking for opportunities to, I joined something called Shopping Angels, where you do grocery shopping, go out and pick up a list and go grocery shopping for people who have a compromised immune systems and don't know them or anything like that. But that was really cool, just to be able to connect even outside with our masks on, socially distanced, but to be able to help other people, even especially if you're feeling helpless a little bit in this time and off kilter, but to be able to reach out and try to support other people. That same token, I mentioned kind of being the peacemaker, kind of play that role for a lot of people. So a lot of different people have kind of reached out to lean on or want to talk. And it's been, sometimes it can be a lot, right? And you need to kind of figure out what's your outlet so that you can keep being supportive for other people. So I think that's kind of been a little bit of a challenge, but again, it's what kind of fuels me too. So it's finding that balance, striking that balance has been something I've been working on. And I would say the last thing, and this is kind of a weakness that's come out during this time, is because Greens are kind of laid back and you do your thing and I do my thing and we all coexist. Sometimes in the stores where people are close to you and they're supposed to be 6 feet apart, or they're not wearing a mask and they might cough. And, I'm caring for my mother who is, has diabetes, high blood pressure, definitely compromised. So I take that extremely seriously, and kind of feeling nervous about saying and speaking up, do you mind stepping back a little bit? That's just not my character. But sometimes I'm kind of feeling the need to be able to do that because it's literally life or death, right? So sometimes I feel like I need to learn to kind of step out, even though that's not the green in me. I want to kind of be peaceful, and you can be right up on me if you want to be. No, I need to be able to say, hey, can you back up a little bit? And that's okay to do that, but it doesn't feel right to me. So I think that's been one of the things that I have been challenged with too.
Thanks for sharing, Selena. I love to hear how you and Darlene, your expression during this time has really been to care for people and bring comfort to people, and so it's just neat to see how everybody's expressing their love and care in different ways. So the Blues, Tracy and Terry, have you had enough time to think about what you're going to say?
Oh, you have notes.
Yes, because you like to think about things and not try to run the world.
It out.
But just saying.
So, during this time, I have really researched different ways on how to continually live the lifestyle that we have. So there's things that I'm doing online and virtually that in the past I wouldn't necessarily do. Safety is also very important. So for me, I feel comfortable in going to do, my grocery shopping curbside and doing things of that aspect to keep me out of the main population. The only thing I'm used to having at least some time, and with Wally and I both here, because we are married, I don't really get all the downtime or that little reserve. So yeah, we're in different rooms right now, but normally we're like right in the same room. And what's really funny, we haven't missed a beat with, like Monday musing and worship on Wednesday and faith on Friday. And he's a Zoom roomer where I'm kind of good if I just log in on Facebook and type in some comments. So we kind of go back and forth on that as well, because I kind of am more of a background where he's like front and center. So I just find that, being cautious and also just really feeling blessed to be involved with the church, which gives me that feeling that as though, I'm not separated. And even, I mentioned earlier, this class that we took, how like there's a divine order to things, and taking this class and really looking at how it fell last year and just the volume of people who signed up for it, it was almost as though God was preparing us for today. And the skills that I learned from strengths and weaknesses have definitely helped in this time of solitude. That's all I'll say for right now.
Yeah, I think for me, it's being someone who is okay with solitude and pretty task oriented. The transition has been less hard to, working from home for the most part than for other people. And it's been, kind of not interesting, but there's a lot of learning that we're going on where we have to really be nimble. We're pivoting all the time. And so some of that, trying to research and figure out how to do things, help keep people connected, has been part of what I've been focusing on. But it's been, I don't want to ignore the people watching on Facebook. There's a lot of banter about Jesus's temperaments. That seems to really hit a lot of it, but we're glad that you guys are here.
Carrie and her dog, Leah, which I still think you should rename the dog since we have a worship leader and pastor whose name is Leah. Just gets awkward. But no, we just want to say hi to all the folks that have been out there on Facebook. Chip is spurring most of the banter, as one might think, might assume. So want to wrap up today. We're going to show a short about 3 minutes on the strengths and weaknesses. And then we're gonna just offer up an exercise for us to consider doing over the next week to really bring positive thoughts and energy into your lives. So let's watch this, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about that exercise we're gonna do, and then we'll be back next week. And Brian's gonna host the group, and he's gonna run the whole thing, right, Brian? So,
obviously.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share this, and looks like it might even work this time. So
own strengths and weaknesses. And people will go, well, why do you have to talk about weaknesses? Well, I think God was very, very intentional. We know it's light in here because we know dark. We know loud because we know quiet. We know good because we know evil, right? You have to know your weaknesses and what might be robbing you from your authentic self in order to use your strengths. So let's talk, let me just give you a little overview of some of the strengths and weaknesses of each temperament. The sanguine, joyful, encouraging, they're inspiring, they speak in stories, they talk in stories, they bring a breath of fresh air into the room all the time. But how does he know he's that? because he's a compulsive talker. He's loud, hates to be alone, interrupts, a little bit scatterbrained, right? So you want...
She's not going to be here next week. Okay? Let you know, you stuck with me.
Do you want to tell them your morning story?
Please. Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to be on time this morning. I was not, because I was cooking yesterday and I took my wedding ring off and I was mixing stuff. And then I got to the church. I was like, I don't have my wedding ring. I'm going to be on stage with my wife. So I had to run home, get that, and be 15 minutes late and be very loud when I came in the room.
Oh, he actually startled me because he came flying in the back. And I was like, we've never met. So I'm like, there's some strange man flying in the back of the church right now.
Yellow on steroids.
Exactly. He couldn't have teed that up better. For the red, some of the strengths are they're driven, they delegate well, they're self-directed, they're confident. But you know that because you can be bossy, impatient, quick-tempered, dislikes tears and emotions. And it's usually about right now where I start seeing the elbows fly. Like, are you noticing that? Can you fix that? Because we always come to fix the other person, right? But really what we want to do is try to kind of think, am I connecting with that? Is that how I communicate? Is that how I talk? The blue, we are analytical, empathetic, perfectionist, creative, but we can also be incredibly moody, critical, withdrawn, skeptical, insecure socially. I put that up there because I am a blue and I want to just give freedom to all blues. Most blues feel like a square peg going into a round hole. We've always feel like we're a little odd, when really every bit of us just wants to belong. So if you have a child that's a blue, I would love you to hear that I'm saying that, because they do feel that way. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we're aware of strengths and weaknesses. The greens, kind. This is a innately kind individual, even-tempered, tolerant, harmonious, but they can be unenthusiastic. They can be indecisive, have no sense of urgency at all, right? Nothing is important or quick to them. So now that you have a little bit of the colors, let me tell you a story. My family.
All right, so we'll start off next week with a few things here, but I want to thank the panel for joining us. Thanks for everybody that's tuned in on Facebook and will watch this later on. A couple of things is if you want to watch the whole interview with Pastor Terry and Pastor Chip, and then also Kathleen, if you just go to our website, garfieldchurch.org, and then /messages, you can look for it there. It's a little bit further down the page. We might even link it somewhere. I'll talk to the guy that does the websites about that. But we want to end with this. Is one of the things that when we read Ephesians, the passage in Ephesians, it says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And I want to start, I think our self-talk is really important, especially in times like we're dealing with now. As Darlene shared, just a tragic story of a young woman's life. I think all of us have a tendency to have negative self-talk and struggles. So want to end with this exercise. I'm not going to have any of the panel here share, but just to think about this during the week. The exercise is this: I have a tendency to be blank, but I will choose to be blank. So I have a tendency to be bossy, but I will choose to be understanding. Or I will choose to be, I have a tendency to need to be in control, but I'm going to choose to be flexible. So think about what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Oftentimes under tension and stress, our weaknesses come out more than our strengths. So you practice that exercise. Maybe take 5 minutes and write down a couple of those, put them on a mirror or put them on your desk so that you can reflect on them. Because that positive self-talk is going to get us through this. and if you're struggling with that, find a green who will care and listen for you. Find a yellow who will just bring you up. I'm a red. I don't know what positive I would bring, but I'll snap you into order. But yeah, speak words of life to yourself and to your family, and try to turn this into positive. So why don't we end with a word of prayer, and then we'll see y'all next week at the same time, 4:30 on Thursday. We'll push it out there on social media. But anybody out there that wants to close us in prayer? 3, 2. Brian, thank you.
Wow, perfect. I was ready. Okay. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for just bringing us all here together. Thank you for wiring us to be so unique and different, that we all get to bring different sides, different aspects of life together, and that we can recognize that we are built specifically for a design by you. Lord, let us just continue to reflect on those things. Allow us to keep coming in community. Help us to live less selfishly and hear others out. Continue to grow and learn about people who are wired differently. Help us to continue to grow and learn in how we are wired. And God, I just thank you for this space where we're not able to meet physically, but we're able to still see each other, talk with one another, grow with each other. God, I pray that you'll just use this time, use this space, use this message in all of our hearts, all of our lives. Help us to continue to support one another with our unique gifts that you've blessed us with. And I just look forward to many more conversations. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks again, everybody. It's great seeing you again, 4:30 next Thursday. And we're also going to be starting small groups that won't be publicized on Facebook. So you'll be in a nice, confidential and protected, safe space. But stay tuned for that, because I know this transformed a lot of my views and relationships, and I think it could do that for you as well. So God bless. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.